Well, hey there, friends in the neighborhood, fellow Yinzers. WAP bringing you another episode of Yinzology, the study of all things Pittsburgh in the Steel City Switchyard, aka my garage. Welcome back. I've been thinking about doing a part 2 to the mom and pop bakery video that we did with the donuts and the cupcakes and the wedding cakes and the birthday cakes, but they also do bread. And we were going to devote a whole video to Pittsburgh area bread companies. On November 17th is National Bake Your Own Bread Day or National Bread Day. But the whole thing with Schwebel's closing, I thought we would jump into this a little early. But this is to get us started about the impact that it's going to make, even though they are a company based in Youngstown, Ohio, just across the border. Just like Isley's started in Ohio, they have made a massive footprint and impact in the tri-state areas. So the closing Schwebel's over 120 years. Like Giant Eagle's got to find a new bakery for their private label. Not to mention all the Schwebel outlets, for the discounted baked goods, they're going to be closing. And so it's bittersweet news that's not only shaking up the grocery aisles, it's about family-owned businesses in our area and how they're surviving. It's about the economy, the local food supply chain. And Schwebel's rhymes with pebbles. It's not Schwebels, okay? Some users call it Schwebels. It's Schwebel's. And it reminds me of pebbles that you throw in a lake or a pond. And Schwebel's closing is like it's going to have all these ripples that impact the community of the surrounding Pittsburgh area. I can't tell you how many loaves of bread. My kids grew up on the Italianos. And it's crazy to think about, just like Yinzers of years ago. Joseph and Dora Schwebel started baking loaves out of her kitchen, and Dora would travel door to door to door in her wicker basket selling loaves, growing into a massive corporation where your bread's being delivered in big trucks all over the place. So Joseph passed away in 1928 at 46. He was not that old, and so Dora took the reins, an amazing woman with 6 kids, turned this thing into a thriving business, survived the Great Depression, true pioneer, expanding building plants, adding routes to the trucks. And it was a staple in Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, and grew into 2 major bakeries in Ohio and 20 distribution centers. And they baked famous bread like potato bread, Italian wheat, and private label products for big retailers, again, including Giant Eagles. And their Italiano, Millbrook, and Sun-Made lines became household names. Quality, freshness, homemade taste built loyalty and lasting generations. So they're winding down. All right, they're going to be closing up slowly. They're going to be liquidating, and for various reasons that you could probably guess. Rising costs, aging manufacturing equipment, facilities, labor challenges, and there's a decreased demand this is a very demanding and tough market right now. I mean, you think about it, the whole food pyramid just flipped on its head. You think about back in the day, that pyramid was, I'm not saying anything crazy when I say the base of the pyramid was developed by Kellogg's. A little bit of a conflict of interest there. And how long were we running that thing? And the pyramid's not the only challenge that the bread industry's facing. There's a whole trend of going low to no carbs. You got the keto, you got the carnivore, and people are kind of waking up to the agricultural industry. Like my wife has become gluten intolerant, and a lot of it has to do with the glyphosate. That's the Roundups, and how the soil isn't really nutritious anymore. Like our soil's not the same. Our wheat and our grain, our flour, it's not what our great grand folks were eating. So you got the glucose intolerance, you got the diabetes, insulin resistance. Everybody's getting off the rice, the pasta, the bread. So yeah, these are some significant changes that come with serious challenges, and that's what I love about Mr. Mancini. If you follow him on TikToks or Instagram, he is being really creative in the way he's getting out there on social platforms, and he's always at festivals and celebrations, and because he's branching out. It's not just a loaf, and it's like sauce, merch, pepperoni rolls. You know, what can we do? What can we come up with next? What can we offer? What can we do better? You know, he's really, that's what you got to do as an entrepreneur. You've got to change with the times. You've got to change with the times. I think Mr. Mancini, if you're watching this, you got to come out with not only a, gluten-free bread sucks. It's just like rice or something else. My wife can actually eat. The Italian's flour is still really clean, that 00 flour. So you got to get together with some really clean, organic men and women who are making clean flour. You got to find fresh milled regional artisans that are knocking down the residues, but they're knocking up the nutrients and the minerals, and they're presenting a high quality flour. I think that's what Mr. Mancini, with all due respect, I think you got to tap into that market too. Now that's going to be pricey probably, but I think people will buy it. On Facebook, I follow the wedding cookie group, and they're always talking about the flour and also the butter when they're baking their cookies, how for years there's always been consistency in the quality, but now with the way our ingredients are not the same, you know, their cookies aren't coming out, they're coming out garbage. All right, they're just like, what's happening in my cookies? So it's crazy. They did try to find a buyer or an investor, and they could not do it, because I think buyers and investors know it'd be tough to secure a sustainable future there. So they couldn't find any investors, and so they're going to have to lay off folks. And to be honest with you, there's some bread out there you wouldn't want to fall asleep on. I mean, it's just garbage. So Schwebel's just wasn't an out-of-state store bread. It was our bread also, all right? It was in our stores, our schools, our Steeler tailgates, and in our homes, and on our vacations. Listen, we didn't go on vacation every summer, all right? It just wasn't in the budget. And if we managed to, a couple of times we made it down at Outer Banks, we didn't go out to dinner. Like nowadays, you go on vacation, everybody goes out to eat. Like, no. We didn't go out to eat. And Mom would go to the local grocer, and she would buy 5 to 6 loaves of white bread. So we're talking Town Talk, we're talking Schwebel's, Wonder Bread, that the cheapest white bread available. All right, load up on the bread, and you got your PB&J, your cheap lunch meats, and bologna, tomato, maybe tomato cheese, a block of cheese. And we're not talking a little block. We're talking a hunk, like a block of Velveeta, like that was less than $1. Tomato cheese sandwiches with mayonnaise, PB&J, anything that would fit on 2 slices of bread and butter, right? That was breakfast, lunch, and sometimes dinner, okay? Although dinner would be more extravagant. Maybe we'd catch our own dinner, catching crabs or fish, or maybe it'd be spaghetti. Now that I'm older, thinking back, I used to think, playing in the sand and swimming all day in the water and being out in the hot sun was the reason I was always hungry. Now that I'm older, I realize it was really, Mom was just shooting us up on short sugar spikes of bread and whatever was in between the bread. And on day 3 or 4, I would remember crashing under the umbrella, where you would just be in a coma and sleep all day, thinking you're just recovering from either sunburn or extreme swimming sports. I mean, that's some of it, but I think some of it had to do with you're just running on sugar the whole time you're there. So yeah, that white bread on the shelf was a game changer for making the almighty dollar stretch in tough times, and a lot of sandwiches. On a side note, I just learned the word sandwich comes from Lord Sandwich in Britain during the time 1775 to 1776. I was reading in David McCullough's book about the Revolutionary War. This guy, Lord Sandwich, was gambling one night, and he said, hey, I need some meat, so I can't leave this table because I'm winning. He's gambling, but I'm hungry. Grab me some lunch meat, all right, some bologna, some chip-chopped ham, but like put it in between two pieces of bread because I don't want to get my hands dirty. I don't want to get my, I got to keep playing the game here. And that is where the word sandwich comes from. But comment below, let us know what you want us to talk about on National Bread Day as we kind of mourn for Schwebel. We'll keep you in our prayers. The folks, many, hundreds and hundreds of folks losing their jobs. It's tough out there. And here's to the iconic white bread. I don't know where it's going to end up. We need to get our flour clean again. And till next time, I'm Doughboy P, and I'm out.